Hello and welcome to CommScope's ARRIS Product Training webcast, Foundational Knowledge of the ARRIS E6000 CER. This is the second presentation in our webcast series on ARRIS Product Training. My name is Lauren Trout, Senior Content Developer here at CommScope, and my co-host with me today is Tom Gibson, Senior Professional Trainer.
Hello, everyone.
Today we will be covering a variety of topics related to the ARRIS Product Training as well as the E6000 CER. First, we will review the different ARRIS products that we provide technical training for. Then we'll delve into the E6000 CER hardware operations and video courses and what they have to offer. Next, we'll preview a snapshot of the E6000 CER operations course, and that will be led by our expert here, Tom. And finally, we'll discuss how to access learn.arris.com as well as our upcoming webcast series. So let's begin. CommScope provides broadband network solutions with a variety of ARRIS products. Those categories include CMTS and CCAP, distributed access architecture, video solutions, network management, passive optical networks, and much more. Today we'll be focusing on the CMTS and CCAP solutions, and much more specifically, the E6000 CER. Now I'll hand things over to Tom to lead us through.
Thanks, Lauren. We'll begin with talking about the E6000 Converged Edge Router, which is our industry-leading converged cable access platform, or CCAP. The training that we have available covers a wide variety of topics. We're going to look at a few courses in particular. You'll see these listed here: the E6D 101, E6000 CER Hardware Overview. We'll also discuss the E6D 201, E6000 Operations, and then a handful of video courses, the E6V 204, E6V 205, and E6V 208. And these are courses designed with the E6000 along with different variations of video services. One thing that you need to pay attention to is looking at our course numbering scheme. And as you can see, we have designed these course numbering schemes to provide a logical progression through your courses, with the most basic courses starting in the 100 series. Moving on to the 200 series is kind of an intermediate step. And then eventually you'll see the 300 series, which moves us into more advanced topics. If we look at these courses with our curriculum map, you'll see here in the first ones highlighted, the E6D 101 course is part of our foundation series. And it's also part of the E6000 DOCSIS set of training courses that we offer. The next course, which would be the E6D 201, it's more of our principal course. This would be where you would first start with hands-on training with the E6000 and then progress from there. And then a little further down, you'll see our video courses. These are the E6V 204, E6V 205, and E6V 208. So once again, these are separated into different categories as far as topics, and also in different levels, if you will, for the training. And remember, E6V, the V stands for video, and E6D, the D stands for DOCSIS. So as we look at these courses a little bit more in detail in our curriculum map, here we have listed them by technology, where all of our DOCSIS courses are to the left. And you can see the first one there, E6D 101, the E6000 hardware overview, is at the top. Below that, you'll see the E6D 201, which will be the follow-on course. This is our hands-on course, beginner course for the E6000. You move over a couple of columns and you'll see the E6000 CER video column. Notice one that we did not mention, the E6V 101. This is a digital video fundamentals overview, which would then follow on with our 3 courses that we've discussed with different video content. Once again, these have different types of video on demand technologies. from table-based VOD with E6V204, switch digital video and session-based VOD with E6V205, and then also switch digital video and table-based VOD with either Annex A or Annex B with our E6V208. Getting in more detail with our E6D 101 E6000 hardware overview, this is an online course. It typically will take from anywhere between 1.5 to 2 hours of your time, and it will go through all of the hardware and all of the functionality that the E6000 has. It will help you identify and describe all of the hardware components and functions. It also discusses hybrid chassis mode and operational considerations in that. It will also help you identify the differences between Generation 1 and Generation 2 hardware components. It will also allow you to recognize the value of the Gen 2 hardware and all of the capabilities that it brings. And it also discusses the benefits of DOCSIS 3.1 channels in the upstream and downstream. Our next course is the E6D 201 E6000 CER operations. And this can be done either in person or virtually. For an in-person course, this would be a 3-day hands-on instructor-led training. If it is a virtual course, then we spread this material across 5 days with approximately 4 hours for each session. The prerequisite of this is the E6D 101 hardware overview. And in this course, this will help you to get a much better understanding of the E6000. So it will begin with configuring the E6000 and being able to pass traffic onto cable modems. We'll also perform CAM configuration beyond the basic configuration, setting up things such as channel bonding, additional upstream modulation profiles. It also contains a significant amount of DOCSIS 3.1 configuration. So we'll go in and discuss DOCSIS 3.1, and we'll see how the E6000 implements DOCSIS 3.1 at the current level. We'll also be able to monitor cable modems and the E6000 and view logs. And to better interpret system status, we'll talk about very basic troubleshooting steps and how you can gather information from within the E6000 itself. And then lastly, we'll be able to discuss and implement upgrades and patching procedures with the E6000 as well. So with that, what we'd like to do is Lauren is going to give me presentation modes, and I will show you some of the course material that we have that's inside the E6000 operations course. Here you can see we are using the student guide for the E6D 201 course. And I wanted to just point out some of the contents of this. In this first lesson that we're looking at here, this is in Module 4, Lesson 1, and we're discussing the DOCSIS 3.1 basics in the E6000 CER implementation. And you can see a little bit how the student guide is laid out with objectives. We'll look at the topics you can see here in this lesson. We'll be talking about the implementation of DOCSIS 3.1, be looking at both the downstream and upstream features and benefits of DOCSIS 3.1, and then eventually getting to how the E6000 implements all of that. So you can see we have a little overview of what DOCSIS 3.1 is, goes on through quite a bit of that. You can see we've got nice graphics, things of that to go along with that. So that's a little bit of what's inside the student guide for the E6D 201 course. We also mentioned that the E6D 201 course is hands-on. And so we have lab exercises for each of the students. And in those examples, here would be an example of one of the first hands-on modules where we're going to go in and configure the hardware in the E6000, things such as Ethernet interfaces on the RSMs and configuring the modules. We'll configure cable max, downstream parameters, upstream parameters, and following up that with configuring fiber nodes. So we have step-by-step exercises here where we're dividing the the students up into teams, and they'll take turns in doing CLI commands to configure that particular portion. For instance, we're configuring Ethernet interfaces here, and you can see the CLI command that the student would use. You would continue, and you'll see through this student guide that it's broken up into additional lab exercises, where in this exercise would be configuring the modules, and then each team would go through and configure their modules as directed. So this is just a little preview of what is contained in the student material for the E6D 201 operations course. We've looked a little bit at the student guide and the lab guide. And with that, we'll go back and we'll discuss some of the E6000 video courses in more detail. Here we have our first E6000 video course, the E6V 204 E6000 CER video applications, focusing on table-based VOD. And so this course is a 2-day in-person hands-on instructor-led course or a 4-day virtual course. The prerequisites obviously are the E6D 101 hardware overview and also the E6000 CER video applications table-based VOD. So in this course, we'll be able to look at the hardware differences, specifically looking at link aggregation groups and licensing. We'll also be able to configure those link aggregation groups. We'll discuss DOCSIS set-top box gateway configuration and operation. We'll also discuss table-based VOD on demand or table-based video on demand configuration and operation. We'll also look at video on demand privacy mode encryption configuration and operation, and then follow that up with monitoring and administration using the E6000 Element Manager. So these are all of the items that we would cover in the E6V 204 E6000 CER video applications table-based VOD. Moving on to our next one is very similar to the previous course with one large change in that we're going to be discussing switch digital video and session-based VOD. So that would be for our customers with those systems. This is a little bit longer of a course. It would be a 3-day in-person hands-on instructor-led course or a 5-day virtual course. And the prerequisites are the same, the E6D 101 hardware overview. So in this course, we're going to look at the hardware differences. We also are going to look at link aggregation, DOCSIS set-top box gateway, and then we will move into switch digital video configuration and operation, since that is much different than table-based VOD. And also as well with session-based video on demand configuration and operation, and then following that up with monitoring and administration using the E6000 Element Manager. So the big differences between 204 and 205, E6V 204 is table-based VOD, E6V 205 is switch digital video and session-based VOD. And then lastly, our E6V 208 course is kind of a hybrid between the two. This is for specific customers that have both switch digital video, but table-based VOD rather than session-based. So this is a 3-day in-person hands-on course or a 5-day virtual class. The prerequisite is the E6D 101 hardware overview. And much like the last two courses you'll see, we do start off with hardware differences in the course. We will also look at creating and operating link aggregation groups. We'll also talk about DOCSIS set-top box gateway configuration and operation. We will add switch digital video configuration and operation to the discussion. We'll be discussing table-based video on demand operation and configuration, and then following up with monitoring and administration using the E6000 Element Manager. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Lauren.
Thank you, Tom. Now we're going to take a quick look at learn.arris.com and all the different features it has to offer. First, we have ARRIS Academy. This is our learning platform that houses all of our courses. This is what you will actually log into when you take an e-learning with us. Then we have the course catalog, which allows you to look up different courses and review the details. You can search for them by course number, title, or topic. And remember, our courses are labeled much like college courses to make it easier to find. Next, we have the calendar, which allows you to see upcoming instructor-led and virtually instructor-led training courses, and also allows you to sign up for them. Finally, you can access the E6000 CER curriculum map from here as well. Make sure to keep your eye out for our next webcast, where we take an in-depth look at the E6000 CER routing course suite. You will be able to access it from wherever you may be via our CommScope YouTube channel under the ARRIS Academy playlist. Finally, don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn and Twitter and subscribe to the CommScope YouTube channel. We post course updates, links to helpful content, videos, and much more. And also look out for some of our free training coming in 2020 on YouTube. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. I'll pass it off to Tom to say a final goodbye.
I want to thank everyone for attending, and once again, follow us on our social media platforms for more information.